by Virginia's brother Sky and his wife Amanda. Good morning to you both. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I wonder if I could just start by asking you how you and the family felt the very first time you read the memoir.
That's a really hard one. We always kind of knew what the contents of the book were going to be in so many conversations with Virginia while she was writing it. But this felt particularly hard, holding the physical copy in her hand while she's not here anymore. And so there were so many big feelings, I think. It was a hard read. It was a heavy read, of course. But there were also so many beautiful moments throughout the book that really highlighted who she was and her character and her quirkiness and her love of music. So it was also really great to see. I think there were moments where I felt like she was actually coming through the page and I could hear her voice. And then there was the ache of losing her and wishing that we could talk to her and tell her how well this was done and hug her. And so there's so many mixed emotions. I think it really is a mark of her legacy and an imprint of who she was. And we're proud of her.
Sky, we can see how emotional you both are, just even remembering Virginia. How does it feel to know that the book is out today as well, and all sorts of people that have read the headlines and seen some of the stories will actually finally get to hear her version of events?
Yeah. I mean, like Amanda said, we're very proud of her for speaking her truth. It's very raw, right? When you read it, there's so many intimate details that she shares. And to me, I think it makes it very difficult for anybody that might be complicit to poke holes in her story. She's incredibly detailed about what happened and how that felt as a survivor. And so, to me, I think again, we're proud of her, but, I think the work's not yet done. I think this is just the beginning, and it was kind of written that way to where it was meant for some sort of action to take place following the book release.
And when you say action, what are you talking about?
Well, again, I kind of reiterate, it's very difficult at this point to poke holes in her story. To say that, we're feeling there's a sort of justice from this at this point would be naive. I think the right word for it is acknowledged. I think this is an acknowledgement to her. It's an acknowledgement to her survivor sisters. But I think we really do need to reopen investigations. I think the UK law enforcement have documentation that supports being able to bring people to justice, including Prince Andrew. And I do believe that just because you have the word Prince in front of your name doesn't mean there's a different set of laws for you. I think everybody needs to be held to the same standard and to that account, because I truly do believe that if the Prince wasn't in front of his name, that he would be behind bars right now, truthfully.
Sky, he's given up some of his titles. What would you like to see happen with Prince Andrew?
I mean, that's a great question. I think, one, I don't think he should bear the Prince name before Andrew. I think the king has the ability to take that away, so we would call that for action, but it's just not enough. Again, I do believe that there's two sets of laws for two sets of people, and this is an exposure to our system. My sister was a truth teller this entire time. This is a vindicating moment for her, and so, right now I would call for to open their investigation. They have flight logs. They can follow the money. There's a money trail that we can follow. And I do believe there's substantial evidence there that we can place a case on a variety of these people and start supporting the survivors and start, working for the people. I mean, that's what it's designed to do.
Amanda, Prince Andrew has always vigorously denied the allegations, of course, that have been made against him. But we've since heard over the weekend that he sought the help of the Metropolitan Police here in the UK to try and find some information on Virginia to do something for her reputation. What did you make of that when you heard that?
Well, there's two things to this, and one thing that I will always stand on is my sister's words, and I will never forget it when she said, "He knows what happened, I know what happened, and only one of us is telling the truth, and that's me." And she's proven herself over and over again to be telling the truth, and the release of this information just further vindicates that. It shows how far people are willing to go to possibly cover tracks. And that is it's so egregious. It also shows the level and severity that these survivors have been up against for years. And I think we're actually seeing clear evidence of that now.
One of the things that we understand, of course, back in 2022, she did settle out of court with Prince Andrew regarding the civil case to the tunes of millions and millions of dollars or pounds, however you look at it. I wonder how she felt when that case was settled.
I think she felt, again, a sense of vindication. During the process of trying to hold the rich and powerful accountable, the government failed them and failed them again and again. And the only way that these survivors were going to get a sense of justice and even exposure was to civilly go through these lawsuits and get them where it hurts, get them after their money. So I know that she was heavily criticized for that, and she really does approach that and talk about that in her book as well, that feeling. I think it's also important for us to remember the difficult decisions that survivors are placed in. They're going up against them possible, and they have had their lives stripped from them. It has been impossible for them to gain their life back, to be successful in certain circumstances. And I think what these settlements gave was only a fraction of what these survivors deserve.
I think also what Virginia has done is she's now got her voice again too. Do you think that there are more details of the Epstein files are going to come out now?
I do. And our goal, and the only reason we're really coming forward, is to keep her voice alive. I mean, entering this space of advocacy, I've had a lot of people ask, like, well, you guys never came over before. No, the truth behind it is she was trying to protect us. I mean, I remember her saying so vividly, she said, "I never want this evil to touch you or anybody else in this world." That's a big statement. Because she was there to protect you. She was there to protect your daughters and your sisters. And many of these survivors are becoming mothers now. They're becoming mothers of daughters that are entering the ages where they were abused. So yes, I do think the Epstein files are incredibly important. I don't think you're gonna see I don't think it's like a file where there's a name by name by name by name, but there's so many details. Like there's video evidence. There is documentation in regards to the flight logs. There's a money trail that clearly indicates that certain people were complicit. My sister was very vocal about that. You'll see that in the book as well, that she's very vocal about being able to be led. She was led to Epstein's sort of camera system, and you'd be able to see each room, right? So to say that he doesn't, especially our government here in the U.S., to say there's no documentation or there's no supporting evidence, I think is, quite frankly, a load of crap. And I think we need to see through that as the people and start calling it out.
What did you make, Amanda, of Ghislaine Maxwell meeting with the Trump administration and then the consequent move from one prison to a less secure prison?
I remember specifically that morning feeling such a violation. It was such an abuse of power, such an egregious act towards all the survivors and our sister. The day before, we had previously came out for the first time as a family because Trump had made comments about our sister being stolen from Mar-a-Lago. And it was extremely hurtful. And we had addressed this administration, and they said no leniency was being considered. She revealed nothing, only in a space where it felt like she was trying to rewrite her own narrative. And we were very angry because, again, we just felt this big mistrust of our very own administration who said they weren't considering leniency. And then she was moved. And we still have no explanation as to why that happened. what was the reasoning behind that?
I wonder, with all of this happening, Sky, how your sister would feel today, knowing that the book's out there, knowing that we're talking to you, knowing that people all over the world are talking about this story and talking about her.
I can feel her smiling down. This was a moment that she was waiting for, a moment of acknowledgement that, you know, people were finally seeing the truth, that people were finally speaking out, that her survivor sisters were finally speaking out. And I think the book does a lot of justice to the survivors, in the sense that it's very raw and intimate, and it explains what these girls at the time were going through. And I think it's a predator's playbook, and she's explaining how this essentially can never happen again. That if you're a parent, I mean, if you have young children in the home, this is something that you can read and as a parent and understand, like, okay, this is a grooming process. Mm-hmm. So she would feel incredibly proud right now, but I definitely feel she would also say, like, the work has yet to be completed. There's more that we need to do here. We need to ask of our governments to reopen investigations into anybody that's complicit, because there's more. The US has a lot of work to do. The UK has a lot of work to do, amongst many other governments, because this was not just a US or a UK thing. This is an international sex trafficking ring. So she would be very proud right now, though, to be clear. I think this is a vindicating moment for her.
And at this point in time, if you could say anything to the royal family here, what would you say to them?
I would say you have an opportunity to promote change. You have an opportunity to say that you'll be a royal family who protects the innocent. No matter who is implicated, that you'll stand on the right thing. And you have an opportunity to do that. You have an opportunity for your people to trust you, and for other governments and other worlds to trust you. And we're hoping that you're going to do the right thing. I think it's been far too long. Our sister has waited far too long for that acknowledgement and that justice, and we would hope that we can trust you to do that.
Well, look, Sky, Amanda, thank you so much for joining us today to offer some perspective on your sister. We really appreciate your time and sharing your thoughts as well. Our thoughts are with you and the family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We approached Prince Andrew for a response. He has not commented on the latest allegations. In his latest statement about him no longer using his title or the honours which have been conferred upon him, he said, as I've said previously, I vigorously deny the accusations against me. And we also approached the Met Police for a comment as well. They said in 2015, we were made aware of allegations around non-recent trafficking for sexual exploitation. Officers assessed the available evidence. Following the legal advice, it was clear that any investigation into human trafficking would be largely focused on activities and relationships outside the UK. Officers therefore concluded that the Met was not the appropriate authority to conduct inquiries in these circumstances, and a decision was made that this matter would not proceed to a full criminal investigation.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.